Hello everybody and welcome to WCS America Premier League round of 32. Today is July the 30th and I'm Kevin on the Coy, also known as Ro32, and with me is Nutanius. Nate, how are you doing on this lovely Wednesday afternoon?
Doing well. You see, you've been outstepping me all day.
That's true.
My confidence has been hurt a little bit, but I'm getting it back.
You make up for it with the hair though. That haircut, Nate. Bam, guys. Bam. Look at Nate. He comes straight from the rowing team.
I'm working on it, man.
Which university?
You know what I'm saying?
Big back. In 2 months, Nate's shoulder is going to be this wide from all the rowing.
I'm getting new shirts for other reasons here. So, of course, guys, this is Group B today of WCS America. We are on Season 3. I can't believe how fast this year has flown by. And we are on Group B. So we have a pretty good race distribution. But, of course, this is the round of 32. There's tons of matches coming up. And as you guys can see, we finished up Group A yesterday. We saw Hyun advance along with Neeb. You know, good plays, but Arthur and Guitarchi's going back to Challenger. Today you guys can see that it's Alicia, Nesty, Jim, and iaguz. But there's plenty more awesome players coming up after.
Yeah, especially on Monday, August the 4th. I think that group is a group that a lot of you guys are looking forward to. And of course, Nate and me as well. Pold, us, Jaydong, and Max. That is an absolutely fantastic group. The day after that, we're going to have a rating champion in action, Pick Baby. So that should be super fun too. And of course, Wednesday, we're going to have Violet, Revival, Hawk, and Aria. And that's going to be a PvZ Heaven group. And plenty of other good players as well to come the week after. But Nate, you already touched upon it really quick. Today is all about Group B. We have 4 really interesting players. We have all races very well represented. We got 2 Protoss players. We got a Terran. We got a Zerg. I think everybody's happy. We got WCS regulars. We got a newcomer to WCS America Premier League. What more can a man wish for, Nate?
Not much. Not much at all. Except more Terrans. I love my Terrans.
No, I was giving you a bridge, and you say a man could wish for more interaction from you guys. We want to hear if you guys are excited about today's matches. Let us know. Hashtag WCS via the Twitter universe, and of course Facebook.com/StarCraft, Twitter.com/StarCraft, and of course the same for ESL. Nate, that's the social media part. We want to hear from all of you guys. Hopefully you're excited for today's group. Let us know who you picked as well. That's going to be fun.
Yeah. Let us know who you guys want to advance, and of course, don't just say you want someone to advance. You know, put your money where your mouth is. Sign up for the ESL Fantasy League for StarCraft 2 and WCS. You can pick players from each group. You can say, hey, who did you pick for this group today, Roddy? Who is your pick today?
I went with my boy Jim. Jim, all lowercase, no space, gray face. Jim all the way.
I think I forgot to pick for this group. I told you actually I messed up how I picked my team.
I noticed that, Nate.
Yeah, basically you guys can pick players from all 3 regions. There's 3 separate leagues now, so that you can have your own standings for your WCS America picks, your GSL picks, and your WCS Europe picks. So check that out on fantasy at eslgaming.com/sc2. Fantasy teams are awesome because it's just a great way to actually have statistics behind when you brag about how much you know about StarCraft.
We all know that guy that always said like, oh, I called it. And every now and then I am that guy too. So now I'm going to have to prove it. So far, Nate, I'm 1 for 1 though. Yesterday I called Xian. Today is going to be very tough. I think it's a very open group. And of course, what we always do is we take a look at the first 2 matches of the day. Because yes, we already said which 4 players we have in the group, Nate. But we didn't tell the people yet who is playing who. And we're going to kick things off with a PvT. So that's fun. Of course, I'm on the left, Nate's on the right. Ain't it right, Nate?
That's right. I'm always in my Terran bros. We got iaguz versus Alicia. iaguz, the Australian Terran player. He is in Australia right now. He was just telling us it's like 8 a.m. in Australia. Fun time. We wake up. It's like, all right, time for StarCraft. And Alicia, the Korean Protoss player who's had many a deep run. Actually, this is a very important season for Alicia when we look at his WCS ranking as well, because if he makes a deep run, he could put himself within reach of a BlizzCon.
He is really not that far away. Of course, the top 16 players will qualify for BlizzCon at the end of the year. Right now, he's on rank number 22. Now he's going to guarantee himself a couple of points by just being part of Premier League, but probably those points are already counted. So a round of 16, that's absolutely mandatory. A round of 8, that would be good. A semi-final. Now then Alicia is balling, and even though this might sound like a far stretch, he has already done it because, of course, in WCS America Season 1 of 2013, Alicia did make it to the semi-final. Either way, we have a second match as well that's going to come up after our first best of 3, and I'm really looking forward to this, Nate. Jim, of course, representing Invictus Gaming, going up against Nesty.
And I remember the first time I remember I was watching WCS with you and Mr. Bitter. You're talking about how much you love Jim. And I was like, okay, Jim's okay. He's a good Chinese player, but he's not great. Jim has become great in the last month or two. His results have been really good. The players that he's beaten, we were talking about this actually on the right here. We're like, okay, he might have to play a Zerg, he might have to play a Protoss, another Terran, but he's beaten like almost a trinity of top performers outside of Korea when it comes to Terrans, Zergs, and Protosses. Tasia, Life, San, like he's beaten high-level players of every race, and Nasty, we know he does crazy stuff, but this is still going to be crazy.
And you know what's really fun as well and makes it sort of a special special match? Because there was a little bit of hype around Jim. Before the very first time I would ever cast him in WCS America Challenger in 2013, the very first match that Jim went up against was against Nasty, and like we were feeling it, you know, we heard stories about this Chinese player playing from China but taking top 1 on the Korean server in 2013 when it was very active still as well, and a lot of pro players playing on it. Everyone was like, man, Jim, and I was like to Ben, I was like, Ben, we're gonna hype the hell out of this guy. Then he went up against Nasty, and that was the very first match that I casted ever of Jim, and he won 2-0 in like 2 9-minute games. 2 times Nasty tried to block Jim's hatchery, because I remember the games very well. 2 times Jim just killed it, then he ran across the map and he killed Nasty as well. Now, I don't think we're going to see a similar best of 3 today, but it should still be a lot of fun. Either way, that's going to be the second match. The first map is already live. The game number 1 is going to be played on Overgrowth. Alicia is going to be a Protoss, and iaguz is going to be a Terran. It's going to be Root versus Axiom, Nate. I think a great match to kick Group B off.
That's right. We have in the bottom left position of Overgrowth, our first player. Representing Team Axiom, he's Protoss. He is Alicia. And Team Axiom is doing an AMA on Reddit today.
I saw that.
Everybody picked Alicia to be the guy they would want on their side if they had to fight a bear in hand-to-hand combat. If you could pick one of your teammates.
From Axiom, I would probably go with Alicia as well. He's a little chunky. He has some arms going.
Yeah, he's pretty swole.
Yes, yeah. I can see it. I wouldn't disagree with that pick, Nate. Over here on the right top side of the map, we have the Australian Terran. It's been a long time since we had some Aussie, oi in WCS America, but it's fun to have one once more. Of course, back then it was Moonglade. This time, all eyes are on the Gimli Terran. Representing Root, it's iaguz, who of course came so close already, Nate, to qualifying for WCS America Season 2. Back then he was up to 0 against Nasty, but still ended up losing the series 3-2. So today he could potentially get his sweet revenge on Nasty as well.
Yeah, this is a big opportunity for iaguz, as we're going to talk, and we know he hasn't been streaming as much as he usually does. I imagine he's been practicing very heavily for this group. Certainly this is probably one of the tougher draws that you could get, having to play against a player like Alicia, but I think if he can take out Alicia, or at least play well enough, like when we kind of talked about how Guitar Cheese played well against Hyun yesterday before getting taken out, then I think he has a realistic...
I definitely think this is a difficult group, but I think that goes for most players. I think the only one who's kind of happy with it is Alicia, because Alicia probably looks at this group, alright, no Jaedong, no Bomber, no Tasia. I should be good enough to pretty much defeat everybody else. No Polt either, because of course those are the real big heavy hitters in WCS America. And as long as a player like Alicia can avoid those, I think in general he's going to be very very pleased with his draw. It should include Hyun as well, and perhaps even Pig Baby, but Pig Baby is still so new. So I think Alicia is very pleased with the draw. For everybody else it's going to be relatively difficult. I think that Jim is quite pleased with it as well, just because PvT is his weakest matchup, even though yes, he did defeat Tasia of course in IEM, but I felt that was a very unique series. His PvP has always been good, his PvZ has always been pretty solid. So I think the two Protoss players, Nate, are the favorites on paper, but it's not going to be easy for them, as of course a lot of guys out there are supporting this Gimli Terran, and he knows it, he can feel the home love and support. Yeah. He might get his first probe here immediately with the Reaper. Wow, Alicia's perhaps a little sleepy as well, Nate.
Yeah, Reaper's not really supposed to kill stuff. It is pretty early over in both of those countries, right? I don't know what time it is in Korea. I'm not that good at time zones yet.
It's +9 from me. It's like 7 AM as well. They're pretty similar.
Okay.
7 AM in Korea, I believe.
So we have a Twilight Council follow-up for Alicia. We could potentially see some Blink play. This is an interestingly placed Twilight. Like, if he doesn't kill him early on, I feel like this is quite vulnerable to drops. But
Yeah,
there's no robotics facility, and we have a factory about to finish up for iaguz.
Yeah, this can get dicey real soon, guys. It's not something we still see very often. It's a very quick Twilight opening over here from Alicia. Kind of gives me the idea that he wants to go for Blink Stalker pressure. It could potentially be Dark Templars as well, but I'd be kind of surprised if it is. Now, Blink Stalkers can, of course, do a lot of damage, but like you said, Nate, we saw something yesterday. Of course, there was one base. This is two bases, but if you have no Robo and a single Widowmine makes it into your mineral line, it can literally be curtains. You can take so much damage from that it's almost impossible to come back.
Yeah.
However, with this build from iaguz is not going to have a whole lot of units at home. So if he ends up losing 6 to 8 Marines and then he can just straight up die against the Blink Stalker attack, you know, even just 10 Blink Stalkers are going to do it for you as a Protoss. So this is a really flippy opening on either side where, you know, either things are going to go fantastic or it's an absolute disaster. Very rarely are we going to see an in-between scenario here where both players will make it through the next 6 minutes in this game feeling quite okay about the position. It's going to swing one way or the other.
Yeah, it's certainly not setting itself up to be a back and forth game. It's gonna be very aggressive, high action packed thrill ride. Yeah, this Reaper is gonna be the first blood drawn.
And he
I guess
saw
outside of that,
yeah,
bro.
but he saw the Twilight, Nate. That's the most important thing. If I was iaguz, I would throw down bunkers and just send out a single Widowmine. Like, he's gonna have a medevac now. I would love to see him just pick up that single Widowmine and just try to fly it across the map. However, Alicia, after he got scouted, is like, you know what? I should perhaps take a different approach to this matchup. And he's actually going to play it passive for now. He's going to wipe in the robotics facility. Has a lot of probes already as well, Nate.
Yeah, I mean, his economy is looking fine. I mean, the robotics facility is going to anchor, you know, any defense against mind play. And with the number of stalkers he has, catching medevac shouldn't be too hard, especially once Blink is done. But iaguz is, you know, he's getting his follow-up going too. He's moving into those additional 3 barracks setup. But the difficulty, of course, is he's going to have an incredibly late stim, which means this Blink, it should be able to completely defend him for a very long time. Now the medevac has reached the natural expansion. First Widowmine gets dropped out. Second Widowmine as well. They're going to burrow, and 1 probe, 3 probes killed total.
That's all right. That's something. And the observer is not out yet. Oh, the stalks actually blink across the map. We'll be able to snipe this medevac. Photon overcharge with the assist. Oh, Alicia playing with fire over here. He's transferring all his workers. Of course, he probably kept a close eye on the clock, and he's like, all right, I should have like 40 seconds, let's say like 35 to be safe. I actually think the observers is coming. Nate, do you think it's going to shoot again?
Nah.
So close? Nah.
Nice defense. I mean, losing 4 workers when now, normally as a Protoss player, right, this is when Stim typically finishes for normal Terran builds. This is when your medevacs are getting close to coming out. This is when a Protoss has to worry about getting dropped, getting harassed. Nice scan. We'll see most of what's going on for iaguz, but iaguz can't put on any type of pressure because of how far away Stim is.
I think the most important thing is, though, that he scans, he sees the robotics facility now as well, Nate, and he sees the forge. Well, after his initial scout, it's no surprise, or at least like in the past, it hasn't been a surprise to see Alicia go for very aggressive Blink Stalker openings, because that's something that he has very often done when he plays online. When Alicia plays online, especially in this matchup, he likes to keep it plain and simple in general. You don't really see a whole lot of passive macro openings from him, and it's often all about aggression. So even though, you know, perhaps iaguz didn't do that much damage, I think he's in an okay position, because this defensive Blink is not really going to do all that much for Alicia.
Yeah, he's trying to put some pressure on to snap up a few Marines, and he's certainly doing a good job of that as of yet. This Widowmine shouldn't be able to accomplish anything, but it's tucked far enough behind the bio that I don't think he can actually reach it. In fact, it's just out of vision of the observer. Scans, observer is killed. That's really nice. You can plop the mine on top of that ramp.
Not just that, it's also he doesn't have to worry about these stalkers guiding his bio units anymore, because there's no more high ground vision. And the last thing you want to do as a Protoss player is walk up this ramp and then immediately like 15 Marines and 3 Marauders fire at your stalkers, because you will end up losing 2 of them pretty much immediately in a single volley. So Alicia still has to be a tiny bit careful. He's going to lose a stalker there, but he does take down a medevac. Okay.
Really nice snipe.
Yeah, that's a trade that I'd sign up for if I was a Protoss player.
Yeah, medevacs are so important in this early stage for a Terran to be able to bounce around and, of course, heal those units. But I like how Alicia is setting himself up otherwise. He's got the double forge going on, but he's also got a probe starting to string out some pylons in the northwest area of the map.
Actually, I want to say that I really like this opening from Alicia, but he's still only on 49 workers. This gives me the idea, Nate, that he wants to go for a 2-base 2-2 timing with a few Colossus and then Blink Stalkers and just a lot of force fields, because he's making 1 more probe now, but I don't have the... He's already down 11 workers. iaguz with a crazy amount of SCVs.
Yeah, he's going to take his 3rd base now. There is a pylon blocking it, though. which is, I mean, kind of awkward. This Marine runs over towards the third base. He sees the pylon. Maybe he thinks there's going to be a third.
Yeah, the SCV can't really kill it. The SCVs can kill the pylon anyway, I think, if they want to. If they hog the pylon, a few Marines and Marauders are going to help out as well. You know, economically, this is not a very good position for a Protoss to be in. The only thing that Alicia does have going for himself is a massive upgrade advantage. As well, he's currently only on 0-1, but he's going to be on 1-2 upgrades soon. He's chrono boosting out upgrades from both forges. So there's a good chance that he will get 2-2 by the time that iaguz is still at 1-0.
Yeah, iaguz has started as +2 attack, but you're right, there's going to be an upgrade advantage for the Protoss for a significant portion of time. And he's going to need to rely on some Zealots, of course, to make those upgrades really effective. Those certainly want to tank up all the damage possible for those Colossus. He loads up his Medivacs, and a blink forward almost picks off one of them.
I would really love to see another starport go down, because I believe we're still at a single starport, correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
I really think he needs one more starport, even though now the Templar Archives is going down. But I have the feeling that Alicia is going to make quite a few Colossus, and he will take a defensive approach to this very first game of WCS America Group B. Of course, welcome everybody. It's going to be the Ghost Academy. It's definitely not a bad choice, because the Templar Archives is on the way as well.
Yeah, he's just lining up. Like, this looks like he's trying to follow a standard textbook Terran versus Protoss, but you're right. A second starport wouldn't be too bad. A lot of Protoss love to just almost overdose on Colossus because of how much you don't want to play versus Widow Mines. Like, you Stalker Colossus is so good versus them. But even just 4, yeah, he does start up a 5th Colossus. He's going to stick with it.
We see a second starport go down as well, so iaguz is just going to get everything.
He hasn't taken the gas at his third base either, as these Marines come over here to clean up these Zealots. So, do you think he's not? I think is he just not going to take the gas at his third, and he's just going to do ye old pig baby style?
Yeah,
Tons of Zealots with this +3 he's got coming in.
Yep, and that he warps in a bunch of High Templars, but they will only be there for Archons. He's not actually going to research Storm. That's definitely possible, Nate. Otherwise, he should have taken these simulators already, and he should have been mining of them. So there's a chance Alicia is just going to try to mine out on this army. It's sort of a one-punch army as a Protoss player, as weird as that sounds, because he does have a lot of things going for himself, and he does have good upgrades. But still, when you don't have that 5th and 6th gas, if you don't win the game with your push and you lose all your Colossus, and you don't have Storm to fall back on, there's a very good chance that you will die against the very next Terran attack. So I definitely think that Alicia wants to get aggressive, Nate. We see a lot of Zealot warp-ins, a few more Stalkers. It's all gonna be down to iaguz's defense. But I feel that our Australian Terran has read this game quite okay so far.
Yeah, he really needs to just recognize what's coming his way, because if you can spread yourself out and not let those Zealots hold your army in place while the Colossi splash everything.
Supply, though, Nate. That's
doable.
That's pretty big, isn't it?
Yeah, he has a lot of resources. I think losing those pylons is actually kind of bad for Alicia. He wants to reinforce this a lot more than he currently has.
The Viking count is currently at 12, guys, against 5 Colossus. That's not really what you want, but there are 2 more on the way. So then it's getting closer and closer. But above all, you know, maybe the bio units can take care of all those Zealots. They can take care of the Stalkers, as there are a few Ghosts in the mix as well. There are Observers. I would love a scan now. Killing that single Observer would have been so massive because of all these Widow Mines over here.
Yeah, I like this. Alicia brings just the Colossi forward to pick off those Widow Mines.
Massive flank.
Now this is going to be a very crazy flank coming in from
Look at the Ghost.
iaguz.
The Ghosts are on the other side.
I don't know how much I like this. He's moving in, but the scan goes down from iaguz. You can see there's actually no pylons here. There's only one very far away, so reinforcing will be quite difficult. Stalkers blink forward, trying to get a Viking. The Ghosts, he does not want to move the Ghosts in separately. He's scared of getting force fielded away from him.
Yeah, we could still land a couple of big EMPs now on this army. The army is pretty clumped up. iaguz will land one of them, connects with the Mothership Core. There we go, no more energy, so no time warps either.
That's a very good pickoff to get that Mothership Core. Lifts the 3rd Command Center, not willing to risk it. And he's still just warping in Zealots. Now, Alicia has maxed out, but and he's got his +3 armor. iaguz is trying to get some additional upgrades. Stalkers move in.
Okay fight, I think.
iaguz is going to go for it. EMPs hit all of the Zealots and the Colossi, continuing to cut back with the Marines and Marauders. 2 Colossi still stand, however, as the Stalkers continue to poke away at these Vikings. Zealots and Archons chasing, and these Marines Marauders having such a hard time against these +3 Zealots. I don't think iaguz has what he needs to defend this attack.
If only those two Colossus would have died, then this Terran army could have kited, I think, the rest of these Zealots. The Archons are still alive, all of them are so low on HP as the EMPs did do a lot of damage. It looked like an okay engagement for the Terran, but in the end, the Protoss upgrades were just too much to handle, and the two Colossus surviving the fight. That's often the nail in the coffin. You just need to kill all those Colossus before you lose your Viking, because you know that the Marauders and Marines won't get close to it. A little bit unfortunate. I also felt, Nate, that perhaps he should have tried to fight when he was maxed out immediately, because he was maxed out a solid minute before Alicia was. But by the time they actually fought, they were both maxed out. Well,
yeah.
If you can fight with 200 supply against 165 and there is no storm, that really makes a big difference.
Yeah, maybe if iaguz could have bought more time, he had his +3 attack upgrade coming in, he had his +2 armor on the way, and with that many ghosts, like, the EMPs, like they should have just been all over the place.
Let's take another look at that final fight, because, you know, the EMPs looked alright.
Yeah, I mean, he gets all the Colossi with the EMPs, but the Vikings, I don't think they were focus firing on these. Like, it looked like he almost killed every last one, but he just. I like that he used the Archon to keep one Archon under to hit the Vikings, because they do clump up quite a bit.
That was really smart. In the end, just a few too many Zealots. So I really, it would have been hard regardless, but if those Colossus die, you're definitely looking at a different fight. Either way, both players are ready for game number 2, so we're just going to go ahead and fire it up. It is going to be played on Merry-Go-Round, which is a fun map, Nate. And apparently people find it very funny when I say Merry-Go-Round.
You know, I don't want to question how. I would be so bad at pronouncing any Dutch words.
We can try it.
I don't know any Dutch phrases, like there's like a Dutch like catchphrase or something. I wouldn't be able to pronounce it at all.
Yeah, I'll teach you some.
Merry-go-round can be tricky.
If you stop playing so much Passion Stone when we drive to the office, I can actually teach you Dutch, Rosetta Stone style, Rosetta Stone. then the Roddy way. Either way, game number 2 is live. It is going to be played on Merry-Go-Round. And over here on the left top side of the map, we have the Australian Terran player representing Root. It's iaguz. Definitely put himself in a good position there, because I really feel if you're in Terran, you're on 3 bases and you have all the infrastructure that you need, and you're maxed out a solid 30 supply before your opponent. You were up 16 workers while being up a base. That's normally in good position for you. Of course.
Honestly, I liked everything about what iaguz did that last game. Like, I think maybe if he has just a few more Vikings, it's hard to say, because if there was Storm, then I think the ghost count is amazing. But since there was no Storm, I would have preferred to have a couple extra Vikings to kill those Colossi faster than the extra 1 or 2 EMPs.
Yeah, this is one of those weird scenarios where 3 ghosts will pretty much accomplish the same thing as 7 or 8 ghosts.
Yeah.
On the other hand, 4 more Vikings could have perhaps made the difference.
And then on the third hand, that we don't know where it's from, but the third hand would say that the ghosts are also very good versus Zealots and straight up attacking
Who
Who
has 3 hands, Nate?
I don't know. This is like the other hand, but I realized we already went through both. Anyway.
Of course, on the 6 o'clock position, sorry guys, on the 6 o'clock position of Merry-Go-Round, we have the Korean Protoss player with a very good run in Season 1 and even an acceptable run in Season 2. It is Axiom's Alicia. Ran into Bomber 2 seasons in a row in the quarterfinal. Season 1 he was able to win 3-2. In the second season he lost 3-2. The games were definitely way more exciting in Season 2 than they were in Season 1. Season 1 we had a lot of silly, uninspired all-ins by both players. Bomber pulling SCVs a lot. Alicia going for Blinkstalker all-ins, or Nexus first into 7 gate, releasing his inner Archer. However, last season 8 we had a pretty damn good series between Alicia and Bomber. It was very entertaining.
Yeah, much more back and forth, and I have to agree with you. I recall Alicia's games, a lot of, was it just like the same 2-base Colossus push with no upgrades against Neeb twice in a row in the round of 16.
Yeah, of course the maps did kind of ask for it back then.
Yeah, I mean,
Yangsu.
when you're playing on Yangsu,
yeah,
you 2-base Colossus all in or you die.
Reaper is on the way for iaguz. He stopped mining gas for now, so it's going to be a very standard Reaper fast expand for our Terran player. Now these spawning locations, Nate, how do you feel about them as a Terran player?
I think it's really easy drop access path from the natural to the main base. There's a lot of damage that you can get done if the Protoss leaves themselves open. It's another reason I love gas first builds. Shout out to Abby234. I'm here in northern Sweden with a phone signal that barely does low quality, but still rooting for Ro. Thanks for your tweet, man. That's some dedication. Hashtag WCS.
I think we've all been in that position once where we just want to fire up Twitch. You know, it happens to me most of the time when I'm leeching up the free Wi-Fi of airports. It's like, come on, Twitch.
Just load, please.
Yeah. Then I'm able to catch like 3 words of Apollo when he's casting WCS Europe, and I see the GG sign, and then like my stream crashes again. But that's awesome. I still hope that you can follow the show, Abby. And of course, I hope that you won't freeze, even though it's summer in Sweden now. The summers in Sweden are actually not bad.
They don't. There's the summer in Sweden. There's actually no nighttime there, so.
That's true too. It's like 3 hours dark, and the rest is daylight.
Yeah.
Sweden is awesome. I've never been to northern Sweden. I would like to go once.
Yeah. I've never been north of Stockholm. Not sure I could handle it. Things get pretty crazy. Another Twilight Council build from Alicia. Is he gonna go blink again and then just make a choice as whether or not he goes ham? Because he doesn't have to worry about factory tech.
Yeah, I think it's really a situational thing. He's hiding his probe as well on the top side of the map, so this could still be. It could also be a Dark Templar opening. You know, if he really wants to, but it could also just be blink, and this time it can be aggressive instead of defensive. I kind of liked Alicia's opening there. The only thing I didn't like, Nate, is that he had a lot of issues going up to 3 bases, and he was down like 15 workers. And right when I want to say like, hey Nate, I think I really like this opening from Alicia, I looked at the economy tab, and if I was a Protoss in that position, I'd perhaps be a little bit in panic, but you know, opening up with Blink defensively is still really nice, you know, because you're going to be safe against pretty much everything, because Blink Stalkers are already strong on the other side of the map. So defensively, up to the 9:30, 10-minute mark, they're going to be very strong.
Yeah.
And if after that you have a Colossus immediately, this actually looks like a pretty rock-solid opening from Alicia.
Yeah, it seems that he's just using it to secure his foothold with that double forge play into the Mega Colossus Zealot push. And maybe he does it. I don't want to say maybe he does it this game, because I still think the third base on this map is so much easier to attack than on a map like Overgrowth, but his Reaper's not going to be able to see much of anything. That is a bit upsetting.
Yep, but he will turn down the scan, and I think he will... he saw the Robo with the Reaper? I don't think he was able to click on it though, right?
No.
It must have been the Reaper, because he died over here, right? On the high ground?
It is. I think there is a possible way to check it, because it has a smaller circle than the other buildings, but he scans anyway.
You need vision, no?
No. There's actually a way to, if you hold Alt plus G, if you're ever looking, I don't know if we can do it as observers, but when you hold your mouse over a building in the Fog of War, you can see its little halo, and so the gateway one is bigger than the Robo. You can tell it's a tech building.
Alt G? While looking in Fog of War?
Yeah, I don't know if observers can do it.
No, I don't think we can do it.
It's a way that you ping as a player.
I don't think I knew that. Today I learned, Nate.
That's how you tell if it's a pylon, dark shrine, all sorts of things. There's weird little differences.
That's how you know that Nate still got the passion. Scouting for Protoss buildings even when he's sleeping. Few Stalkers will make their way across the map. Of course, Alicia's going to be very careful. This is very identical to the Overgrowth opening, where he uses an observer high ground vision and just starts chipping away at a few of these Marines. However, this time iaguz is still at home. He has units in the bunker as well, so I don't think that the Stalkers will be able to accomplish anything. A very quick Warp Prism is going to be the follow-up for Alicia this time. That's different, Nate.
Yeah, and with this fast of a Warp Prism before a Robotics Bay, like, is he... Like, I almost get like this weird feeling in the back of my head where I'm like, no, he's not going to do something like the MC Colossus drop into Colossus all-in.
Oh, you mean the one he did on Frost back then?
Yeah,
when
Frost
we were in
versus
Europe.
MMA, in Season 1 finals. That's a pretty dirty build. No, that Warp Prism's already moving out, I think. That'd be pretty sick, though, if he did do that.
3 more Rexes going down for iaguz. So he's going to have pretty okay production. He's going to be on 5 Rexes very early on. So far, a single engineering bay against a single forge. So this is very different too, by the way, guys. Now we do see that second forge being warped in. He actually had the second forge a little late last game as well. One moment I thought that he was a 2-2 on the way, but it was actually 1-2. He was still ahead in upgrades, but not as far as I thought he was.
Yeah. Forces out a little bit of a stim there from some of these Marines and picks off a few of them. That high ground observer, man, that is so annoying. Look, he's just going to attack again. Kills a few more Marines, backing off. This is smart play by Alicia, just being generally annoying. He's actually going to go for a big drop in the main base. iaguz, there's...
Yeah, most of the units are out of position. The Stalkers are here in a wide open field as well. Alicia's going to end up losing one of them, which means that the main is exposed for now. Even if he just gets a couple of pylons, Nate, there's nothing wrong with getting a couple of pylons.
Yeah, he's going to kill a couple of Stalkers too on top of this. And The Medivacs, man, doing
Few
work.
probes as well. iaguz actually doing a lot of damage with his very first drop.
Stalker's reaching out, but no dice. Actually, a really nice little play there by
awesome.
iaguz. I think that's exactly what he was looking to do after taking a little bit of harass like that.
I think that's more than he was looking to do, Nate. There's 6 workers, and that's pylons as well.
He's adding a second starport before he adds on a third command center. I think he's just going to build 6. You get up to like 6, 7 Vikings, and you just go. It's going to pull the boys.
He's going to build a third command center on location now, Nate.
Oh,
and
wow.
also drop the Ghost Academy.
Okay, I wasn't expecting this. This feels like a pretty late third command center considering, but maybe he's worried about the Colossus push.
Oh man, this observer is in a really tricky position because there is like shadow of the ramp over there. It's like impossible to spot pretty much. Alicia, so tricky.
That's actually pretty gnarly.
Yeah, it's really hard to see. You can check it when iaguz flies over it once more. I'd be surprised if iaguz will ever be able to spot that observer.
Alright, well that Warp Prism is still chilling up there too outside the main base. 3 Zealots are going to get loaded in.
Yeah.
And he's preparing to drop. He's like this observer in front of his natural is so nice because he can see that bioforces are moving out. And when he sees these units move out, he can just run that Warp Prism straight into the main base and start to wreak havoc in iaguz's base.
Man, these observers are really hard to spot. Much more when they're just like in a wide open area, then you can kind of see the shimmer, but when they're actually like, when there is something else going on behind them, like whether it's a ramp or a shadow or a box, it makes it so much harder to spot. Because that's already kind of distracting, so you don't really pay attention to those, you know, to the effects of the map.
Yeah, that is actually
Or the
really
architecture.
difficult to spot. I don't think I would notice that.
Mineral field.
Like you guys can see it here a little bit, but it's so much more tricky to spot because of the edge of this ramp over here. Small things that I'm actually really fascinated by.
It does make a big difference.
Yeah.
You really don't want the Protoss to know where your army is. And now 3 Colossi are moving out. This Marine at the 3rd base is going to die. Templar Archives is on the way with charge, though. So is he just going to take his 3rd and then go for +3 armor? This time it doesn't look like
Viking's going to find the Warp Prism mid-air. That's a really good pick-off. That's 600 minerals down the drain for Alicia. And of course, above all, he wants to create 2 problems at once. A couple of Marauders will stem forward, but not enough. So he's going to end up losing a few Marines immediately. Still though, Nate, that is a massive pick-off, because it's not just the Zealots and the Warp Prism, it's mostly the fact that Alicia wanted to split up the forces of iaguz. He wanted to create 2 problems at once, and now he can't. Now there's only 1 problem. Now the boys are going to help out a little bit as well with the party hats. Stop drinking so much tequila, guys. You're not that strong.
These Stalkers picking off a few of the workers and blinking back. Effective harass. There's still no 3rd base for Alicia,
No.
and iaguz has pulled more than just a couple of his SCVs.
Yeah, and Alicia now, I feel like he's doing a little bit too much as well on 2 bases, Nate. Like it's Colossus, it's Double Forge, and now there's Archons as well.
But there's +2, yeah, there's +2 armor for Alicia. Like, iaguz doesn't realize, I don't know if he realizes, like, he doesn't, I don't know if he can break
good
this.
EMPs.
Yeah, but his army's so clumped up, the Time Warp planted. Stalkers have no shields, but they're targeting down these Vikings, and yeah, he might kill some of these Colossi, but by the time he does, these Colossi have already just done a ton of damage to iaguz's army.
I think you underestimated the power of Terra, Nate. The Marines and Marauders getting so close, but these Stalkers will die, which means that there are a few more Zealots here to save the day, but eventually they should die as well. 2 more Vikings are doing work, and yes, iaguz pulled a lot of SCV, so he pretty much needs to do it right here and right now, but I think he will.
Oh man, he actually has done it. I'll tell you what.
Terran,
Terran! Zealots are going to charge in. The Vikings are landing, going into ground erectage mode, and he's pretty much got this. He has enough mules back home to pile on this economy. Other thing he has to worry about is more Colossi coming out, and he actually lifts the Vikings preemptively. He's like, yeah, maybe you're probably building another one. And this natural nexus is going to fall. Some Zealots trying to cut off the reinforcements. That's not going to do terribly much at all. iaguz has broken the main base of Alicia and picks off the final unit. GG's called. iaguz's macro game is actually looking really good. The only, honestly, I'm thinking about like mistakes that he's making in terms of his build order or his army composition, and it all looks so solid. That game he didn't have +2 attack. I don't know if he had an armory, but given the circumstances, it wasn't too bad. I feel like Alicia kind of has to do a really difficult to stop push like the one he did on Overgrowth to beat iaguz straight up, because his control, like iaguz just had everything lined up really well. It wasn't anything special. It wasn't anything flashy or fancy, but it was just good, clean play.
That first drop, though, that definitely helped a
That
lot.
was nice, yeah.
Like getting 6 workers in that phase in the game against the Protoss, and also killing 3-4 pylons, and even losing a little bit of mining time, and a couple of Stalkers as well. You know, Blink Stalkers are units that have a lot of micro potential. This is that very first drop. You guys can see, already sniped the pylon on the left top side. He got a Stalker for his efforts there. I think he gets almost one more, but he at least gets a couple of probes, and that really put him in a good position. And Alicia got a little bit unfortunate with that Warp Prism being scouted on the left top side of the map. It was idling for a long time. It never really did anything, and Alicia wanted to attack, and above all he wanted to create 2 problems at once, because it's so much harder for a Terran, you know, to split up your army. While Protoss, you can just kind of see like, okay, do I need weapons north or south? Terran, you need to mess with your rally points, you need to send units over. So if those 4 Zealots unload and 2 more are being wiped in as well, 6 Zealots in the main base, you're gonna lose maybe a reactor and add-on, and then you might pull a few too many forces to your main base, and then suddenly you lose the fight against the 4 Colossus.
And if your army's out on the map, then that's just nightmarish. You have to send everything to run home and defend. You could lose a ton of SCVs because, like you said, you're not going to have enough to actually hold on to things like reactors. But King Sejong Station is going to be the deciding map for our first series. Already going to map 3.
Yeah, I guess, man.
Nice.
He's playing a solid series. Of course, it's safe to say that the Axiom Protoss, Alicia, is definitely the favorite on paper. But so far, the Gimli Terran is holding it down for Australia.
Hey, man. I want to see him do it again. Although, as a Terran player, I guess I probably would always say that. And a friend of iaguz.
A long time ago, then, Nate, Moonglade did make it to WCS America round of 8. That was 2013 season 1. I remember. I think he did lose a 0-3 against Ryong in the quarterfinal back then. It's so long ago. It was in New York. I'm not sure if I remember that correctly. I remember that he played pretty damn solid. He was just not able to kill Ryong, but he was, if I remember that series correctly, Ryong won 3-0, but the games were actually really good and close.
iaguz, he's breaking out the chatter. Is he going to build a barracks in... No, he's not going to build a barracks in his base. Where is he going to put it?
Of course, you know, just to do the introductions proper, the Australian Terran route, iaguz, is of course on the south side of the map. He wants to be the best performing Australian of all time, Nate, and he's going to go up against Axiom's Alicia, the semi-finalist of Season 1 and the quarter-finalist of Season 2, all in 2014.
Yep. This is a tough match for both, well, I guess mostly for iaguz only being on paper. And he's going to try this Proxy Reaper play. Definitely could get a bit of damage done. But he's putting a lot of reliance into this. Honestly, I don't really know iaguz as much of a cheeser, so this catches me off guard. I didn't expect this from him.
No, me neither. Alicia did check the corners of his base, but nothing else.
Yeah. Shout out to DJ Helium, another Swede reporting in. Got my own Wi-Fi though. Cheering for Nesty tonight.
DJ Helium is actually, he tweets a lot. And
he does tweet a lot.
He also posts a lot on
he's very
Reddit.
Active in the StarCraft community.
He is a very active member. You have been noticed. The overseers have seen you. as Nate and I are pro lurkers. Well, at least I am. You're a little more. You're a little more out there.
I'm everywhere. So Barracks is going to finish up for iaguz, and Reaper's on the way. Orbital Command. These are all very standard things, but you know what? No probe scout can make this slightly awkward. Like if Alicia doesn't build a fast Zealot, if he gets a faster Nexus, that's when things get weird. Because this Reaper's going to be out before anything gets out that can chase it. So now the Zealot's on the way.
Nice.
Which is nice, but if he cancels, like, he shouldn't cancel because the Reaper should be in his base before he would normally cancel it.
In the end of the day, it all comes down to execution from this point on. In the best case scenario, it would have been Nexus first, and then this is GG, but that's not going to happen. Not a whole lot of Protoss players will go Nexus first. This Reaper Nate still has the potential to pick up 3-4 kills, and that's really what it needs.
Oh,
like
he canceled the Zealot!
Oh my god, he canceled it like at the final moment. Okay, that's really frustrating, because now he doesn't even have that Zealot to buffer and scare the Reaper away.
He canceled the Zealot right before he got that first attack notification. I think he was on autopilot.
Yeah, no, I think he was looking in his nature and he wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, Alicia on a bit of autopilot, caught off guard, and suddenly he's got a Reaper going ham in his main base that already has, what's this, 3 kills? That's totally good. That's great.
Yeah, and a lot of mining time being lost as well. I would love to see him get one more, though. I think that would really justify everything.
Yeah, he wants, I mean, maybe use 2 Reapers to try to pull him apart. The one thing that is nice for Alicia, of course, is his Sim City makes it so the Reapers can only really get to that mineral line from one direction.
They're gonna get some more work done though, Nate. Here we go. Number 4 is down. Good micros so far by the Australian Terran as well. Hasn't lost a single unit yet.
Another command center on the way in his natural. He's getting up 2 additional barracks back home. He's already got one of them finished.
And this Marine is like, hey, Normally I'm spawning in the main base. What's going on over here?
He's like, I was just chilling in barracks. I didn't realize we were out here in the middle of nowhere.
I hope that this guy's wearing his Nike Fitbit so he can get all those steps in.
He's getting all those steps.
Mothership Core is making his way across the map, Nate. That also means that right now there's just a single Stalker that really doesn't have that much DPS.
Yeah.
Reapers can kill maybe one more probe. Of course, 2 Stalkers is going to make it a lot more difficult. Do we have enough Marines at home? Yeah, we have 2 Marines over here. He needs... Okay,
He's got
3
that third
actually.
One, the one that made the trek.
The Nike Fitbit Marine.
Yeah, all those steps are going to turn into a defense of this Mothership Core.
Oh, don't lose your SV before the command center.
That's frustrating, but he still has an SCV there because that bunker is about to finish, but that is
What were those Marines shooting at? They were shooting at the command center, I think.
Oh, I don't know. That's weird.
Because like you saw them firing for the longest amount of time.
I didn't even notice.
They did 70 damage on the command center. Because I was like, hey, why is the health bar not popping up? Because of course we're using the damage health bars, guys. As most of you requested when we had all health bars on, everyone's like, please put it to damaged. So we listened.
I don't want to see this much information. I can't handle it.
Nah, damage is fine. I can kind of dig it. But sometimes I get really confused. Either way, Nate, the Reaper's getting one more probe kill. Maybe even getting a second one. There we go. Can he get one more?
Oh, this is just dirty at this point. iaguz has totally gotten his worth. The only thing that kind of stinks is, yeah, you lose your Reapers for scouting, but I think he saw the robotics facility too, so what does he really have to worry about at this point?
Let's take a look. Yeah,
Mothership Core gets deflected again. 7 worker kills this early in the game. I really like this for iaguz.
I mean, he killed 7 workers, but the only thing that's not really in favor is that he still downed 5 workers.
Yeah.
However, he does, of course, have double orbital, so you could say that it's even. But normally that is kind of standard, but I think the only thing that really works for iaguz now, Nate, is that Alicia doesn't really have any infrastructure. He doesn't really have any tech. Yes, he has a robotics
and all the
facility.
chrono boost energy that he had to spend on his Nexus to get more probes
Exactly.
out.
So it's not like there are good upgrades on the way. It's not like the Robo Base already down and the Colossus is being chrono boosted out. Then we do see the Robo Bay goes down. There might be a small window of opportunity for iaguz to do something crazy with Stim. He's on 4 Rexes after all. What kind of a bomber opening is this, Nate?
And see, I had to float one of these all the way back from the other side of the map build, baby. This actually does give him a crazy amount of Marine production. I would love to see him try something crazy.
Yep. As soon as Stim finishes up, I think Stim will be ready before the first Colossus is out. Now, the only good thing for Alicia is that he's going to have a lot of observers, so he could see this coming in time, and he will be able to work with 3 gateways soon, so maybe it's not all that bad. It's still a very even game, and not a scan goes down in the main base. I think he had a missile turret over here on the way, right? Or was that a bunker?
Nah, he salvaged his bunker, I think.
Was that a second bunker or a missile turret?
I think it was a second bunker. It might have been a missile turret.
We will never
Possible.
know. I wish you could know.
I mean, we could always...
It was a turret!
Wow.
Confirmed from the guru.
That's the production map hacks right there.
That's the production guru.
All right.
You know, this is why it's nice when you have a production guy sitting or a switcher sitting in a production room who actually plays a lot of StarCraft. Whenever we don't know what's going on.
Yeah, our producer was actually our director was wrecking on ladder before.
Our
we even
producer
played.
is high diamond, and if he would only play more, he'd be master.
Yeah.
Sorry, Brett.
All right. Well, so Twilight Council's coming in for Alicia. He can go into. I guess this is a bit early for his +2, but he seems to favor Blink, which I can't really argue with, since it's going to help with the very many areas where a medevac could boost in on this map. Not too much else crazy going on. I guess he's going to get a 3rd command center. He moves these medevacs out with his army, and since his army's already out on the map, I think Alicia doesn't really know exactly where this force is, so he's a little bit cautious.
But he's going to see it real soon, though, Nate, because this observer is going to identify this army. Will iaguz see the observer? Man, all these observers are so hard to spot. Today I learned. A couple of Marauders running straight into his Stalker, but Guardian Shield is popped in time, so for now, Alicia is going to be more than fine. The reason why I was like obsessed with this being a missile turret is just because he threw it on a scan and then he realized, okay, I don't have to worry about Dark Templars, which means I don't even need the turret right now, which is nice. The only thing that would be nice for him is to drill. You know, I think Terra players should build a turret at the bottom of their ramp, Nate.
For observers?
Yep.
I do sometimes. I put the turret out a little bit in front of the bunker, but then if I get gateway, I'll end up die, so I lose my turret.
No, the turret will die. You won't die.
Wow.
He's wasting time on the turret.
Yeah, well, like, there's a man in the turret.
It is a magnet turret, Nate. It's a distraction maneuver. It's built a wall of turrets, and behind this, your bio units is shooting away the zealots.
That sounds like a great strategy.
Who needs bunkers where you can just throw down a lot of turrets?
They've been cheaper than supply depots, right?
couple of Vikings will spot this pylon on the right side of the map. Of course, very important game for both players to win, and we'll move on to the winners match, where we don't know yet who they're going to face, as our next series is going to be played between Jim and Nesty. That's a rematch of WCS America Challengers Season 2 2030. Back then, Jim was able to win pretty convincingly and in a one-sided series, 2-0. However, Nesty has definitely been showing some sparks of brilliance again here and there, Nate, with a couple of good moves lately.
Yeah, I agree. Jim's been really on fire in his StarCraft recently. I guess it's a pretty nice supply lead in this game. I don't think he's made too many mistakes overall. He's supply blocked right now, but he's got a depot finishing up. He's going at it. Alicia's got his +2 armor coming in, and Alicia really likes this setup of 2 Forge with just like a small little sprinkle of Stalkers, but very heavy on Zealots. And I'm curious to know whether or not he's going to go for his gas on his 3rd base again. If he doesn't go gas, maybe we're going to see with all these Chronos into the Forge another big +3 timing.
But this time I feel that iaguz is going to have even more Vikings than he had on Overgrowth. I really thought it was funny as well, like how I miscalled the final fight in game 1 and then you did the exact same thing in game 2. So we're 1 for 1 when it comes to mistakes, Nate. Yeah. But I feel like so far I totally agree with you though. Like iaguz things are shaping up quite okay for him. I would love to see that stack. Oh, he's pulling the boys already. That's kind of a strange moment to pull them.
I don't disagree with it. I mean, if he hits before +2 armor is done, then he saves himself the the endless pain of realizing that you don't have an armory and you're never going to get +2. So
I mean, he's up 20 supplies. Stalkers are going to get a couple of Marines for free. A single Stalker will fall. You need to keep those Stalkers alive, Alicia. One of them did get tagged with those concussive shells. Photon and overcharge, force fields and time warp are going to be all so incredibly important.
I like trying to force with this position. He just wants to buy time. He's like, I got another Colossus coming out
Charge
soon.
is 40 seconds from
that
finishing.
+2 armor is going to
15
finish.
seconds.
Now I'm a little worried for iaguz. Now I'm a bit upset with this because he's going to have a really hard time versus the Zealots.
Manishim Core can die though. Manishim Core can die like that. Double time warp is going to be the choice.
Time warp doesn't last that long. No reason to worry about it too much. The Vikings step forward, kill one immediately, kills an observer before anything else. A bit unnecessary, but those EMPs landed quite nicely. There's one of these Colossus just walked straight into the Terran army. iaguz is actually going to take out Alicia in the first match of the day. Are you kidding me?
Wow, talking about upsets.
Damn.
The Australian Terran player. The Aussies had to wait so long to see one of their boys in WCS America Premier League. But iaguz is here and he kicks things off with a 2-1 victory over Alicia.
I'm actually so incredibly impressed.
Yeah.
Like he just didn't make any mistakes. The little bits of aggression that he did in the 2 games that he won on Merry-Go-Round and on King Staging Station, like that aggression did just enough. And iaguz just sent me a message on Bound, and he's like, lol, and the plan was probably won't beat Alicia, but I can beat the other 2. Well, not only got to beat one.
Yeah, no, great series to kick things off with. Very fun playstyle by iaguz brought to the table as well. In game number 2, went for the big drop, or at least semi-big drop. Game number 3, switched things up with that proxy Reaper build and did enough damage. Alicia had a Zealot on the way, and you always want to cancel that, or not always, but it's kind of standard to cancel the Zealot just to get your Nexus down a few seconds quicker. However, like he could have seen the Reaper, so I thought there's no way he's ever going to cancel the Zealot, but I guess he was looking at his expand. Then the Reaper showed up and things got a little complicated for him. Either way, great finish there by iaguz. He pulls the boys, but he had enough Vikings this time to take care of the Colossus. Of course, very good timing as well. Charge would have been ready within 20 seconds, and maybe if like Alicia has another 20 seconds.
He didn't have a lot of Zealots too. Was another thing.
He had quite a few, but they were in the back of his army.
Yeah, they were. It was either because they were behind the Stalkers or whatnot, but they had +2 armor, and I just felt like towards the center of that fight, like there were just so few Zealots. As we can see here, he comes down. +2 armor is going to finish right as this fight begins. There's the double time warps.
Imagine this fight with like 5 more Zealots, Shards, and another Colossus.
Yeah, there's like maybe 6 or 7 Zealots that get right in his face, but there's just not a lot of the Zealots. Those few Ghosts that are sprinkled in for iaguz do tremendous amounts of work, and at this point, walking another Colossus into the Terran player certainly isn't going to help your chances.
Nope. Awkward position for anyway to be in as the Protoss player, like kind of caught between both bases. Would have been really nice, I think, to just drop a single time warp on either base and then use photon overcharge as well. Maybe to less click on a couple of those Vikings because there were a few Stalkers in the process. Either way, our Australian Terran player wins the first series of the day. We're going to head over to a very small commercial break, and after that we'll be back with the incredible Jim going up against Nasty.